Friends, welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward. I'm your host, Lee Safa, and today we're talking about a subject that we haven't actually spoken about for a minute, and that is inflation. We first started talking about this back in May, maybe even April. And it was really interesting to see the response that we got back then. People were telling me I was crazy. People were emailing me saying, that they didn't think it was possible for inflation to be happening. Now we are in November and inflation is a thing. And it is being seen across the supply chain. So let's talk about that today. And before we get started, if you are looking at becoming a small business owner for the first time, or you have a business, it is time to think very seriously about creating a customer acquisition plan. And if you would like details on a precise method, a foolproof, precise method and how to do that, head to the show notes and we will help you figure that out. So, inflation in the coffee industry, where is it coming from? Is it happening? Is it real? How long will it go on? All of these amazing questions. The answer to all of it is yes, it's real. How long will it go on? Nobody knows. Where is it coming from? Everywhere. And what do we do next? Who knows? So, inflation, for those who don't know what it is, inflation is when the value of money that you have buys less today than it did yesterday. So if I have $10 and I could buy a pound of coffee with that today, that same pound of coffee is going to cost me $12 tomorrow. That means that the $10 I had yesterday isn't worth as much as it is today. That's inflation. Now, we are seeing inflation happen across the supply chain of all the different supply chains that we participate in the coffee industry because of a couple of reasons. And it's all based on supply and demand economics. Now, the issue isn't with the demand. In actuality, the demand, not only is it high, but it continues to get higher the more that inflation happens. The issue that we're experiencing is from the other end of it, which is the supply perspective, and that the issues there are multifaceted. So it's not just that there isn't enough coffee, or there isn't enough cardboard, or there's not enough packaging, or there's not enough sugar, or any of these things. It's not just that. It's that even when there is enough, which there isn't, but even if there is enough, the logistics that cause or that are the connecting factor between the consuming end and the supply end of all of those supply chains, it's broken right now. At best guess estimates, if all things go well from now until the end of 22 is when this mess is going to get fixed. So if nothing else goes wrong, if we have no more Suez Canal clusterfucks, if we have no more shortages of containers, if there are no climate influences on whether ships can leave ports, if COVID doesn't flare up, if all things being perfect from here on in, best case scenario, it won't be until the end of 2022 that the supply chain gets back to normal. Given everything that's happened in 2020 and 2021, I am not going to hedge my bets that everything's going to go fine from now until moving forward. And so what we can see is that even if the supply of coffee does get better, which if you are following Judy Gaines, you will see that her boots on the ground are determining that the the harvests in Brazil for 22-23 are not going to yield what they thought that they would, and that's because of what's happened with climate. So we are expecting a decrease in coffee. And from the Global Coffee Town Hall, the Portuguese Global Coffee Town Hall, what people were saying is that at best, there's going to be a 22% drop in yield. So look, 22% is nothing small. That's just out of Brazil. So all of these different things are causing inflation. So we fix one problem, another problem happens. We fix that problem and other problems unfold again. You've got the port in Long Beach, which typically has like a 36-hour turnaround, now has 100 ships off the port that are waiting for weeks to come in and unload. You have containers that are stuck, unable to be reloaded onto ships so that they can't get sent back to the places where things are manufactured. You have ports shut down because of COVID. All of these things are constraining the supply of goods, which means that there's an increase in demand when it's not being fulfilled. Add to that, currencies are collapsing around the world, and there is less confidence in the way that people are governing and the way that people are able to stabilize their currencies, different governments around the world. People are trying to figure out how to reopen. We're definitely trying to figure that out here. People are fatigued. People are just exhausted. So what does that mean for inflation? What does that mean for what comes next? I don't know. What I do know is that if you're not across this, because none of us can know what's coming next, this is a time to prepare yourself financially and economically for reducing your debt, whether it's for you personally or for your business. It's time to trim the fat. It is a time to stop with the delusions of everything's going to be okay. And it may be okay, but assuming everything's going to be okay because you're going to fake your way through it, this is going to be different, folks. I genuinely believe, based on a lot of the data that I've seen out there and a lot of the flippancy of people out there thinking it's just going to be fine. Once the pandemic's over, it's all going to be fine. No, there are real problems. There are real problems, and even successful businesses will fail. Some very successful businesses will fail for reasons they could never have seen coming. For example, a business that has 11 locations that is doing fantastically may end up having to shut down a bunch of stores because of labor shortages. So the things that were determining them to be successful before may be something that stops their success and causes a successful business to close for reasons they could never have imagined. Inflation is going to change consumer behavior again. So figure out how to get a customer acquisition plan that is inflation proof and inflation ready. And that is really important as a way for you to adapt, have alternative revenue streams. And if you're not already in small business, working for someone and becoming a solo entrepreneur should be part of your strategy. But folks, inflation is here. Look in your supermarkets. Look at the price of coffee. Look at the way that different people are treating their spending habits. It's here, and it's here to stay for some time, in my opinion. But my opinion is just my opinion, which happens to be based on data, but we'll just see how it goes. Please start paying attention if you're not already across it. There are ways that you can survive this, but you have to plan, and you have to be strategic, and you have to know what's available to you so that you can move forward. I hope this has been helpful. If we can help with any of it, get in touch. Peace on peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.